Hello learners. Wow, great having you back in class. Welcome to your lovely channel, Biology with Omotayo. We'll be continuing from where we stopped last class. Yes, for as many who had been part of our series, you will agree with me that last class we started looking at members of kingdom Animalia. We looked at the 9 phyla, of which we started examining in detail Phylum Porifera, Coelentrata, and Plathyhelminthes. We stopped at Plathyhelminthes, which means that today we should be taking it up from there. And a quick recap with regards to previous classes. Under our kingdom Animalia, we even had rhymes with regards to the 9 phyla: Porifera, Coelentrata, Plathyhelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Mollusca, Arthropoda, Echinodermata, Chordata. Yes, for those who had been following the series, I believe you just took this line with me. So, and with regards to last class, with regards to the Porifera, we said they are basically colonial organisms. They are asymmetrical. They are hermaphrodites, that's they are hermaphroditic. They have male and female reproductive organ and can reproduce on their own. They are soft body organism. Yes, that's with regards to Phylum Porifera. Examples like the sponges and the Venus flower basket. The sponges do come in various forms. We have the demo sponges, the calcareous sponges. You have even the purple and yellow tube sponge, and so on. All are sponges. And then the Venus flower basket. From Porifera, we went on to look at Coelentrata, that is also known as Cnidaria, Phylum Coelentrata or Phylum Cnidaria. This is where we have organisms such as the Hydra, the Obelia, the Aurelia, okay? We have the sea anemone, and so on. Here, they have a false body cavity, even though we have body layers like mesoderm, body layers like the ectoderm, endoderm, and a mesoglea. Yes, it was well pointed out that what you have under Coelentrata is not a mesoderm, but a mesoglea. It looks like it's triploblastic, but it isn't. It is a diploblastic organism, because the mesoglea is not a true layer. Organisms here equally have tentacles, yes, because they feed heterotrophically. So they hunt, they are hunters, and with the tentacles, hunting is being done. Members under Coelentrate or Coelentrata are equally hermaphroditic. That is to say, they are both male and female gonads, okay? Members here have enteron, an internal cavity, kind of, along several other unique features. And so, from Coelentrata, we moved on to look at Porifera, Coelentrata, Plathyhelminthes. Yes, Plathyhelminthes. That was where we stopped last class. And with regards to Plathyhelminthes, we said this is where we do have our flatworms. Yes, our flatworms. This is where you have organisms such as Taenia, either the Taenia solium or the Taenia saginata solium, common with pigs, saginata common with beef, although take note, in man you can find either solium or saginata. And then we equally have Planaria, the free living flatworm, alongside others. Here we have organisms that are equally bilaterally symmetrical. Yes, take note, like for Porifera, they are asymmetrical. For Coelentrata, they are radially symmetrical. And for Plathyhelminthes, they are bilaterally symmetrical. For Plathyhelminthes, we said the body is equally flat. Yes, they have flat tube body, alongside a couple of other characters. Equally, they have definite head and tail. A good example is like the tapeworm, the Taenia, having a scolex, okay, where you have the hooks and the rostellum, and where you have the sucker, and so on, a prominent head. and then the proglottids that matures progressively. Okay, that's what you can see under under the phylum Plathyhelminthes. And please take note, this phylum has 3 classes. Yes, we have the class Tubularia. A good example is the Planaria. And then we have the class Nematoda, and a good example there is the liver fluke. And lastly, the class Cestoda, and a good example there is the Tania, that is our common tapeworm. Today, since we are done with recap, we'll be moving on to look at the next phylum, and that is Phylum Nematoda. Phylum Nematoda. This is the phylum where we have roundworms. Okay, just as I said, Phylum Nematoda, the phylum where we have roundworms. Yes, here the organisms are elongated, cylindrical. Okay, they are elongated and they have cylindrical body. The body is equally not segmented. So unlike in the case of Annelida that we'll be looking at a later time, where we have segmented body, here the body is not segmented. These organisms are found in a couple of habitats, like in soils. Okay, you have them found in soils. They are equally found in marine water, in fresh water. Okay, can equally be found in some of our gardens. Okay, some are free living while some are parasitic. So you know that for the parasitic ones, that means they will be found in the respective host. Now, for this very phylum, they have what can be regarded as a body cavity. Although there is still a little challenge. Yes, there is presence of ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. But aside these 3, there is equally another cavity that poses the challenge that makes it difficult for us to really refer to them as true body cavity organism. Why? Because there is the presence of a pseudocoelom. Yes, a pseudocoelom. It's a cavity between the mesoderm and the endoderm, where fluid is always taken into, so as to create a form of hydrostatic skeleton for the said organism, such that the shape can be well formed and pronounced. By the way, for organisms under Phylum Nematoda, as I said earlier, they are cylindrical and they have pointed tips. Yes, the mouth tapers both at the top and beneath. Yes, for organisms here, they equally have a straight gut. Yes, a straight gut and a mouth and anus. So here you have straight gut, mouth, and anus. The mouth and the anus are at opposite ends. Okay, the mouth and the anus are at opposite ends. Some prominent examples of organisms under this very phylum we have, to start with, the common one we all know, like our ascaris lumbricoids. Okay, like the ascaris, if you want to write the name in full, it is called lumbricoids. Lumbricoids. And then earlier classes we learned about binomial nomenclature. Since we've written it in full, my first name will have to be underlined, a space in between, and the second name will equally be underlined separately. Remember one of the classes we held then. Other examples, we have hookworm. I mentioned earlier the filarial worm. Okay, and that's not all. We still have the threadworm, among others. Okay, so on this note, we will be moving on from Phylum Nematoda, where we have roundworms, elongated with pointed out tips, mouth and anus at opposite directions, and in fact here they are dioecious. Please take note, they are dioecious. That is to say, the male and the female components are found on different organisms. So permit me to put it here, they are dioecious. The male and the female components are found on different organisms, and in fact the female is oftentimes more larger than the male worm. Yes, the females are often found more larger than the male worm. Okay, quick one. From here we'll be progressing and we'll be moving on to Phylum Annelida. Again, Annelida. You can see when we come up with the writing and the writing of the name, you will come to see that Annelida have repeated N. A-N-N-E-L-I-D-A. I will tell you why the repeated N-N when we meet in our next class. Having rounded up the lesson on Phylum Nematoda, I hope you will do well to revisit all that have been said, all that have been discussed right from the recap. Okay, thank you for coming this far with us today. Thank you for choosing to stay with biology with Omotayo. Thank you for sharing. Yes, I know surely you will do so. Thank you for liking. I know surely you will do so. And please make sure that you have subscribed. Encourage others to subscribe as well, so that together we will grow as well informed and improved value personalities through the help of acquired knowledge. Thank you. See you next class. Do have a great day. From the intricate working of the cells to classification of living things, from the mechanism